Okay, Mr. Larry.
Yes.
So we're gonna try the camera out with the.
We're going to try the camera out, are we, Ted? It's the first time ever?
See how it works.
Okay, so we're going to tell the story of the real Porter's Lake from the Dartmouthian.
Yeah, the bloodsuckers.
Yeah, back in the day, when my father, I don't know where he got it, but he got a double-oared lifeboat, and it needed caulking, and you bailed as much as you rowed in the beginning until it swelled up in the water, and the boat sat in the barn. And it was a heavy boat, as lifeboats are meant to be heavy. And we had to drag it across the field and down into the little cove, into the cove, which is now Mannette Alley, Mannette Street, something like that. But we dragged it over the field down and put it in the water, and you had to leave it sit there. And then we bring one set of oars down.
Was this the field that your grandfather used to do hay in?
Yeah, my grandfather's field with a big rock in the middle, and it was up and down the hill.
The one with the big,
yeah, and then the hill was at least 100 feet taller when you dragged the boat over it, because it was heavy. It was barely what two people could do. Right? My father would drag with a rope, I'd push it from behind. And then we put it in the cove, and then it would sit there and it would swell up, and then you had to bail it out. And then once in my life, my mom and dad decided to go up to Sandy Point, which you can see it on the map. There's no housing there, but at the time it was a beach with a little isthmus that ran out, so it was all sand. And you couldn't get in there with the car easily, but my mom and dad brought the car up the other side of the lake and walked in, and I rowed the boat. And then I often thought of Freddie, because I could sure use some leather me out on that road. And my hands had blisters on them. And I took the boat all by myself and rowed it all the way up the lake underneath the bridge. And in Nova Scotia, there's no such thing as a day without wind. And I remember rowing it all the way up to the lake. And that was the easy part, because then you had to row all the way back. And then we tied the boat up, and then we would go swimming in the nude. My mom and dad liked to swim in the nude. There was nobody around there for miles. And I don't know where it came from, but my brother and I are swimming on the lake near Sandy Point, where the little bulrushes and some of the water weeds would grow. And suddenly, about 50 carrots came floating by. And it's like you pinch yourself, is this a dream? They're all carrots, and some of them long, some of them were short. I don't know if they were meant for the horses, or there was something the matter with them, but I will never forget that. Carrots,
like
real carrots, orange carrots you grew in the garden. So either somebody was cleaning, who knows what the story was, right? But there on Sandy Beach were carrots floating in the water, and there was quite a lot of them. And then the dragonflies. And I don't know if you know or not, but dragonflies can bite if they want to. And we never ever had that happen. And they would fly around you. We tried to show no fear. And they were all different sizes. And then you would get the B-17 ones. Oh, those were scary, but they were beautiful. And my dad loved dragonflies because they ate mosquitoes. And my father said, you don't ever hurt a dragonfly, ever. They are to be hugely respected because they were one of nature's solutions to the damn mosquitoes. So we would always remember that too and watch them flying around. And then my dad would bring the Coleman's.
The hated mosquitoes.
Oh God, mosquitoes.
You had mosquitoes in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, mosquitoes and no-see-ums and black flies. And no-see-ums were the worst because you could feel them, but you could see them. Oh, and you hated it if you sat out at night, just as the wind died down and it went to dusk.
What?
They were called no-see-ums.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, well, who knows what the official name is, but boy, could they bite. They were worse than the mosquito.
Okay, well, is that like a black fly or a fly?
Yeah, it's like a mosquito kind of fly.
Because I know when we used to go to the lake,
yeah,
these big horse flies is what we called them. They literally took a
No, you can see a horse fly. These were smaller than a mosquito. And at night,
seriously?
My grandmother called them no-see-ums. And we went, what is she talking about, right? But they were great feelings, because you could feel them. And they left specks all over your arm.
Really?
And you couldn't see the little devils, right?
And that was just around the dusk as the sun was
Yeah,
going down.
and we would be just sitting out, even on the farm, which was, what, quarter of a mile from the lake, didn't matter. Right, so I remember that. But out of Sandy Point, there's always a good wind blowing over the top. No mosquitoes. No mosquitoes.
Wow. So, anyway, you were saying,
Yep, so my dad would take the Coleman stove, right? He was a Coleman stove expert. He loved the Coleman stove. And then we would bring lunch, and my mother would pack a lunch.
your dad
also.
was a Coleman stove expert?
Oh, yeah, he loved the Coleman stove. I still have it, right? That was a big part of it because,
The kind you pump up the...
yeah, my mother wouldn't go camping, and we went once, right? But that Coleman stove was going to get used no matter what. So it was always at the lake, and he'd make his coffee and tea, and what I guess coffee mainly. And we would have that in soup, where you would pour the Campbell soup and then dump it in and mix it up.
Hang on, what kind of coffee? Did your dad like percolated coffee? Or...
That's all there was in Canada.
No, there was instant coffee.
No, that's not coffee.
Not in America.
No, that doesn't.
That's not coffee.
That was an also ran. Back in the 60s, no way. You would drink it, my parents would drink it and say, this is coffee. It was like the tea you just drank, Ted.
So if it wasn't percolated, it wasn't coffee?
No, it wasn't to be, it was disgusting.
Oh.
Right? And then they would go and get the water from the well, from my grandfather's well, because it was exceptional coffee. Water, right? My father would take big gallon chunks and take it back to the house, and they'd always make their coffee, because the Dartmouth Lake coffee from their source wasn't very good. Coffee, the water, it smelled, and it wasn't very good and had chlorine in it. But my grandfather's well, it was exceptional water.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we always took that back. And most of my memories are from the Vanguard days.
Mm-hmm.
So we would be on the beach, my brother and I, and then we would be, the wind would be coming from the other side of the lake, from the what? From the south end. And then when it blew up against the shore, then it would make soap suds, Ted. And then you can have beards on your face, and you can have white hair, and it almost looked like the fuzz off of a root beer float.
Wow.
Right? So we had our little cups, and we would put in it, right, and it looked just like a root beer float. So we would enjoy that. We would swim for hours where all your skin gets white,
That was your
like in a bath, right, and wrinkly.
Yeah.
That's what we did. So Sandy Point, many a time, and there was always one lookout to make sure nobody was coming, because people would come in a boat and they could row up pretty quiet. And if my parents were new, well, it was your job to warn them.
Yeah.
You'd whistle or go, "Ah! Ah!" They knew exactly what that meant, right? They would don their clothes, so we'd all put our clothes on. So those are some of my memories of Sandy Point. And across from Sandy Point, if we didn't have a lot of time, then we would drive up the old road. At this moment, I can't remember the name of it. And there was a nice little lily pond, and it was part of the lake. And we went in there, and we took Darrell license with us in the old Vanguard, and we had the old picnic basket, and we set everything up. We all slipped into the lake, and then 10 minutes later, we come screaming out of the lake. We were full of bloodsuckers.
Oh.
And back in the day, my mother smoked, and that's the only way you didn't rip them off, or they took the skin with them. Then you put the cigarette on each one, and it would fall off, right? And as kids,
Wow.
we really freaked out. We just did, and you never knew. I don't know where bloodsuckers live on, right? But it can't be from swimmers. So those are the stories that I remember about going up to Sandy Point. And then I had to row all the way back, and my hands were red and bleeding when I got there. And it was damn well worth it, because I did it all by myself.
Wow.
I rowed the huge boat.
How old were you?
Probably 10, 12 years old, something like that. We can go and try to figure that out as to when the Vanguard was sold. The Vanguard console days. So that's my story on Sandy Point. So I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, you got the Vanguard in 52, so...
Yeah. And probably sold in about 58, I'm going to guess, 58, 59. And then they bought... That was probably later. Yeah, because the next car my dad bought was the Consul. That was a 57, and that was used. So we're probably on the edge of 60.
So you were 10, 12 years old.
Yeah, in
so
59, my dad bought a brand new Ford Consul. The only new car I ever knew he had besides the Chevy.
Wow.